Hi friends, this is Miss Jess from the Green Team at the Geoffrey Center.
This is Miss Kathy from the Green Team at the Geoffrey Center.
And we know you're all at home doing all of your schoolwork and being brave. So today we're going to read you a story about what it's like to be brave.
The story is Brave Little Monster by Ken Baker, and it was illustrated by Geoffrey Hayes.
I'm so excited to see this brave little monster. And his name is Albert. So we're going to find out how Albert is brave. Albert couldn't sleep. Goosebumps covered his hairy arms. His fangs chattered and he shivered with fright.
Even though Albert's mom had told him there were no such things as little girls and little boys, he knew better. Albert knew that scary boys and girls loved to hide in little monsters' rooms at night.
Albert saw something move in his closet. It looked like a scary little girl eating an ice cream cone. She was probably dripping ice cream all over Albert's clothes.
Albert knew that's what little girls do. They think it's funny to dip ice cream all over your clothes.
It makes them laugh so hard that their bellies hurt. And when they're done laughing, they eat you up. Little girls love to eat little monsters after they've had a good belly-busting laugh.
Mom! Albert yelled, "Help me! There's a little girl in my closet. She's spilling ice cream on my clothes and wants to eat me up." "Go to sleep, Albert," his mom shouted from downstairs. "There's no such things as a little girl."
Albert sighed. He thought he would have to get rid of the little girl himself. He picked up one of his smelly socks off the floor and threw it at the closet.
"Get out of my closet, you good-for-nothing scary little girl, or I'll throw an even smellier sock at you," yelled Albert.
My, is he being brave. There was no answer. Albert thought he must have scared her away. Little girls can't stand the smell of monster socks. Albert just hoped that she had not spilled too much ice cream on his clothes. Those are probably some sticky clothes, don't you think, Miss
Yeah,
Kathy?
I do think. Finally, Albert felt safe, except now he had to go to the bathroom. He had to go monstrously bad, but he didn't dare get out of bed. He was sure there was a mean little boy under his bed coloring in a coloring book. Albert could hear his crayon squeaking.
Oh no. Do we think Albert's gonna be brave again? Yes, Miss Kathy, But if you ever try to get out of bed, they grab your feet and play piggy on each one of your hairy little monster toes until you can't stand it. Then they eat you up.
"Mom!" Albert yelled. "There's a little boy coloring under my bed who wants to play piggy on my hairy little toes."
Oh no. Albert's mom poked her head in his room. "Albert," she said firmly, "it's getting late. For the last time, there are no such things as little boys and little girls. Now close your eyes and go to sleep."
Albert was on his own. He knew there was only one way to deal with little boys that hide under your bed. He closed his eyes and put his head under the bed. He stuck out his slobbery, hairy tongue and went. He counted to 5. When Albert opened his eyes, the little boy was gone, but Albert thought he saw a coloring book under his bed.
No, I bet we all have things under our bed, huh? Albert hopped out of bed and ran all the way to the bathroom. When he came back, he flipped on his bedroom light, on and off, to see if the little boy and girl would come back. There was no sign of them. Albert jumped into bed. He hoped they were not still hiding somewhere in his room.
Albert had just closed his eyes when he thought he heard a quiet laugh come from his window. He sat up. Through the curtains, he saw the little girl and boy dancing and doing somersaults.
Albert recognized the dance that the little boy and girl were doing. It was the hungry dance. Albert knew they would laugh and giggle all night long doing the hungry dance. When they were good and hungry, they would eat Albert up.
Albert had to get rid of the little girl and boy once and for all. His heart pounded as he climbed out of bed. He trembled as he walked down toward the curtains where the children twirled and jumped.
With his nose almost touching the curtains, Albert shouted as loud as he could, "Little boy and little girl, stop doing the hungry dance and go home. You're not going to eat this little monster for dinner." Oh no, he was so brave.
Then Albert took a deep breath and threw open the curtains. There was no little boy or girl. He could only see the big tree waving in the wind. He smiled. The little girl and boy were finally gone. Albert skipped across the room and leapt back into bed. He knew there was no more scary little boys and girls in his room. He had chased them away all by himself.
Albert had almost fallen asleep when he felt his mom's hairy lips give him a soft, slobbery kiss on his cheek. "Good night, my brave little monster," she whispered. "Sleep tight." Wow, Miss Kathy.
That was fantastic.
Albert was so brave.
Very brave. Very brave.
And then he finally got to go to sleep. Thank you so much for listening to our story about Albert being brave, and we hope you're all doing well.
Bye, guys. Bye.